Hello, everyone, and welcome to Under the Table Season 2, Episode 5. That's right, we're already on Episode 5 in Season 2. It's kind of wild. That means 5 weeks of 5 amazing guests and 5 amazing shows brought to you by, well, you, the Storians, here at Table Story. Thanks to you, we're able to bring you Season 2 and hopefully be able to bring you Season 3. As you know, we have been plugging away at trying to make Table Story one of the best places that you can find all your entertainment, not just TTRPGs, but we're expanding on top of that. So please keep your ear to the ground and look out for Table Story 2.0 news coming to you very soon. And again, this wouldn't be possible without you, Storians. So feel free to sub, Prime gift subs, gift subs or Prime sub, or just tell your friends and family to come watch the show. Make sure you follow for free. That's always a great way to support us. And also check out our merchant store. In the chat, all those commands will be given to you by the mods. And if you don't see it there and you're on mobile, check the about section. Everything should be there with a click of the button. That way you get all your Table Story goodies right there in one place. Without further ado, let's jump into episode number 5. Today's guest is one of my very close friends, somebody that I very much admire, somebody I look up to as well, and somebody that you probably just said, well, wow, that guy's pretty nice guy. Well, he's critically acclaimed best-selling author of Table Story, actor in some of your favorite Table Story shows such as Rhyme of the Frost Maiden, Ashes of Eriador, and now Blade Runner series, Electric Dreams. And overall, just one hell of a nice guy is what everybody always says about him. Welcome to Under the Table, Aaron Black. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to be here. I'm not 100% sure what's to come and what's going to come out, but I think it's going to be good, right? And yeah, man. Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Well, it's a pleasure to have you. Feel free to give a little bit of surface level stuff about yourself, just for those out there that probably don't know.
Oh, all right. As a writer, no, actually, I'll go back much further than that. I was actually a sailor in the United States Coast Guard for a solid 10 years, where I was actually a chef in the military.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it was pretty cool and awful at the same time, but we can jump into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But yeah, for 10 years I did that. It was a hell of an opportunity, a lot of travel, met a lot of interesting people, and then after that, got out. Moved here to Nashville, which is where I'm now, and started to dabble in a lot of different things. Led me to YouTube and Twitch, and did the streaming thing for a while. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I love telling stories, and I love playing games, and those things have a really hard time like combining. You know, I would spend most of the time on the pause menu just talking. So after a while, you know, it just didn't feel like it was exactly my vibe, and I wanted to try other things, which I got into writing. And project upon project, I tried a lot of different things, trying to find a voice, I guess, if you want to call it that. And eventually, I did find a story I really thought was interesting, and I think for about a year and a half, I did nothing but plug away at this thing. Eventually, I was able to publish it. Very proud of that. And outside of that, the other things I've been doing is mostly projects within Table Story, which has been a hell of an opportunity. And just like flexing that RP muscle, you know, and creatively it's been fantastic. And that's kind of me. That's about the most nutshell me I can give you. Yeah, that's about it.
Works
There's
for
some
me.
college stuff in there, but I don't even go on that.
Yeah, we'll get into all that. Don't worry. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure having you here. I was very excited about this show because it's been a while since me and you actually sat down and had like a long form conversation. And it's been great, man. Rhyme of the Frost Maiden was one of my favorite shows, and that's where I more than likely met you. And I feel like, you know, it was easy. It was easy. You're a great guy, man, to RP with and tell stories with. So I appreciate that, and I know that this show is going to be one of the favorites here. So you guys hold on to your seats. Before we get into anything, we want to go ahead and start off with our tradition. And they're like, yeah, Frank, another tradition. Yes, we have traditions here. We have at least like 5 of them, a hand's worth. First one is the drink of the week. Now, with the drink of the week, everybody, I just want to let you know that really just boils down to knowing a little bit about you. You know, you could tell a lot by what a person drinks, as some would say. Most go-to drinks kind of define you, kind of define your taste. So, Aaron, why don't you give us your drink of the week?
Sure. I actually made a keto-friendly White Russian because currently I'm doing keto. It has an amount of alcohol in that I can properly tolerate within the keto, but it's actually coffee, a little bit of Kahlua, some birthday cake vodka, and a shit ton of heavy cream. So it's pretty good. It's not likely to knock me on my ass or anything, but I'm a lightweight. I don't drink a ton.
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah,
but being lightweight.
I'm curious about what you have because I saw you had a reaction. I'm very curious.
I'm in sipping. Normally I don't sip early, but normally my glass is not this full. Yeah, that's good. So, you guys know I like my whiskeys, but today I did not do whiskey because, as you notice, we're not dressed up today. I feel like today's show is going to be very informative, let's just say. So we decided to go comfy. I always lead up to the guests what they want to do. And Aaron was like, you know what, let's go comfy. Let's mix it up. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So, I still have on a Ralph Lauren, top that I would wear casually with some dress pants and some dress shoes, if I go out. So it's still got that casual business casual attire. Because I couldn't find my cardigan. I really want to wear my cardigan. But today I have something called Ensign Red Apple Cider, hard apple cider, 35 alcohol by volume, 35%, which is light from what we normally drink around here. Normally go 45 to 50. But here we are. It's this thing right here. You have to mix. And we try to drink it naked, and no, sir, do not do it. Do not do it. It will make you, it's 70 proof, by the way. It'll make you kind of turn your nose up because it's almost like drinking rubbing alcohol at the end of the day. It's very strong by itself. Oak barrel, apple spice. It's Canadian brewed. It's really, really good. I mixed this with ginger ale today. And boy, because the first time I drank it naked, I drank it and my wife drank it. She's like, where's the apple? I was like, I don't know, man. It must have been still in the barrel. They just kind of just drained the alcohol out. But with ginger ale, it brings out the apple heavily. It's so good. It's like a spiked apple juice without the acidic, aftertaste.
Yeah, I can attest to that. So that bottle I was talking about before, the Jack Daniels, it was a Jack Daniels cider that goes really well.
Yeah.
With, I don't know. Ginger ale just works with that stuff.
Yeah, it's like brings out that flavor. That ginger, it's not like overpowering. It's all apple for me. And it just has the sizz from the ginger ale. It's really good. Highly suggest if you guys want a very smooth drink that doesn't taste like alcohol. Very dangerous, by the way, because I put this much alcohol. I put that much cider in there. Okay. So the fact that I'm not tasting it, I gotta slow down. Man. You guys know how.
You're gonna be sideways by the time this is done.
Yeah. All right, Whack. Well, Whack, maybe Aaron has a drink for you since it's keto friendly, so you might want to check that out, man. Get you a little bit.
It's so much cream.
Yeah.
It's so much fat, but it works out.
It works. So, this is that's how keto works. So
yeah.
But yeah. Not much to mix in it. Typically, I do go through, shaking and everything like that, and maybe add a tiny bit of like a whiskey syrup or something like that to it, just to give it a little kick. But you don't need it with this. This is sweet enough. It's not ultra sweet to where you're like sucking your lips together. It's really good. I'm gonna introduce this to my wife, and she's probably gonna like go ham on it, man. She really likes smooth drinks. Whenever I think season 3, I'm gonna make cocktails. I think I'm gonna have some fruity drinks up in there.
Oh,
really nice
hell yeah,
cocktails.
dude! Cocktails are dangerous.
They are
dangerous,
they are.
man.
Gonna make a slushy one. I think I got to figure out who's gonna be good for that one. But anyway, there's the drink of the week. If you guys want to know more, if you want to know more bottles, just request it in the Discord under the table, where Tablestory Discord under the table thread. Just say, hey, what were you drinking for episode 5, 4, 3, 2, all the way down to 1. Whatever, season 1 and season 2, and we'll get that information to you. Also, it is in the videos and the VOD, so you can go back and check those out as well. And if you want to know how to prep them, just ask the people that prepped it, and they will be able to give you that. Also, with that, if you have any questions for Aaron Black, please by all means go to the Discord, place your questions there. They probably will get answered during the show, but if they don't, please place your questions. We love questions. Okay.
Yeah, dude. If I can jump on top of that,
absolutely.
and let me stress that Frank and I are going to get into a lot here throughout this episode, and I'm going to be talking about some various subjects. And if you have any questions about those or any questions in general, please put them in there. I'm happy to answer them. I don't care how simple they may seem. There's no such thing as a stupid question ever, in my opinion. So please, feel free to fill that up. I will answer everything I see.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, you're going to learn a lot from today's episode. Also, a little discretion up in the open. It may be some heavy talks in this episode. If you find yourself feeling affected, feel free to mute or divert your ears from the episode. The things that we talk about won't be graphic, but it could stir up some kind of trigger. So trigger warning on that. And if you want to have a heavier discussion, feel free to have it in Discord. If you want to private message Aaron, I'm pretty sure he's okay with that as well.
I am. Yeah. Please do.
Because I do know that, certain things people don't want to put their business out there. It's understandable. All right, let's get right into it. Before we do that, volume check. Everybody's good. Volumes are good on my side, Aaron's side, synced up. Voices are great. Get a thumbs up in chat. We'll go for the rest of it, and then we'll get in.
Yeah, I had the smallest bit of desync earlier, so if you guys are seeing everything fairly normal with the sound in our lips, then that's great. It was all on my side. Couldn't figure out what it was. Seemed to figure itself out. So, yeah.
Oh, go up 1 decimal. Okay, I told you, they're only gonna be 1 higher.
That's good. I appreciate it.
All right, he's up 1 more decimal. There you go. All right, 1 dB up. Okay, Aaron, man. Again, thanks for being here. We're gonna jump right into it. Icebreaker, typically something that I start off with saying about the name, but your name is your name. And we had Elspeth have the name as well. So it's very interesting that 2 guests in a row have the name. You went into writing. Writing is something that, that a lot of people aspire to do, but it's really hard once you get into it because you don't realize how many layers are into creating the creative writing, let alone a novel, and let alone trying to sell that thing. So if you can give me a brief description of why you went into that and how was the process overall?
Yeah. So I think it's fair to start by saying that I definitely approached this as a project that wasn't supposed to garner money, even though the novel has done a good job at this point, and I'm very proud of it. It is a daunting process, but this was very much a labor of love for me. I have a lot of crazy stories from the military. I'm happy to share a few here and there during the show. And again, if anyone ever wants to ask me about them, totally fine. But I've always loved telling stories. And I felt like I definitely had a knack for it, So I wanted to put something to page. I can say that I did not realize how much of a daunting process it was, which is ridiculous. I mean, obviously, you're producing a book. There's all these things that go along with it. How can it not be a large, or like a big project? But the first thing was like, you know what? I just want to get that story to the page. And I think that even though writing a book is a large process to go through, there's a lot of ins and outs. There's a lot of things that I didn't do and I learned after the fact, but I think for anyone interested in going down that route, the first thing is just finding that story. And the best piece of advice I got was, what's the story that you can't find that you want to read about? Because there's a good chance that that's your story. At least to some degree, that's going to be a story that you can write. And I've had all sorts of ridiculous ideas over the years, like one of the first things I wrote was a zombie apocalypse cookbook, and the whole ridiculous premise was this guy. He was fighting off the zombies. He got bit as he was beating the hell out of the zombie on his arm. The brains go everywhere, including into his mouth. This is very gross. I'm sorry, it's graphic. He passes out. And he gets away from it, and he gets to a fairly safe place. He's bitten. He knows he's going to die. He's like, I don't care. I'm just going to let it happen. He wakes up, and he's fine. And it takes him a little bit of time, but he realizes that if he eats the zombie brains, he can hold off his own zombification.
Oh my goodness!
So this guy was like, a chef before the apocalypse. So I had this ridiculous set of recipes that I was creating that involved they're so gross, and I won't go into them. They're so gross. But it was it's a story that I'd never seen. I'd never seen anyone create that.
It's like the reverse zombie.
Yeah, it was. I'd actually written it to a point to where the guy was essentially psycho, and he was going out of his way to find, because the fresher brains are better, but they got to be zombie brains. So he needs to get people turned to zombies and then eat their brains. So he was such an asshole. Dude. I know. It was so good. I don't think. Who knows what the market would have been for that. I wrote as much as I wanted to. I felt good about what I created, but it was never something where I was like, okay, now I want to take this to the next step. A lot of projects went that way. Very, again, proud of all those. But this one, the book that I published, Firewall Down, is a cyberpunk detective mystery. And it's very light on the mystery and detective. It's very heavy on the cyberpunk. I still want to get to other stories in that world, but that one I started writing and I felt really good about it, and then I had some neat ideas. I was like, oh man, I was writing things down on pads of paper all over the place because I was like, I need to remember this idea. It's got to go in, not now, but later. And it was just it was such a passion thing that I'd written like 25,000 words, and I sat there, I was like, this is gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
However, I lost about 20,000 of those words.
What?
Yeah, it was some sort of, I don't know. I did something wrong. I saved over something and I lost it. I was a little upset.
A little. I would have been fuming.
But I spent the next, I think 3 to 4 days rewriting it. Because I knew the story, it's all in my head, and I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I spent I think it was 8 hours each day just sitting there and just typing, and made a lot of changes along the way. And as silly as it sounds, I think because I rewrote it, it was almost like I was reaffirming to myself how much I really loved it, how much I love this story. I mean, I lost so much, I had to rewrite it, and I was still excited, so I just kept going with it. There were times where I had to set goals for myself because it's hard to keep that motivation up. And I think that whenever you're trying to create something, it's great if you have inspiration, but you can't count on it. Not all the time.
Yeah.
So I did that. I put my nose down and got it done. And then came everything else. Editing. I got to work with Murgles, the lovely Miranda, for the cover, which I misspelled her name on the first set of books that went out. I felt super good about that. Because she got her book. She goes, Aaron, my name's misspelled. I was like, how?
No.
So, whoops. So that got fixed. But she has a special copy that has her, misspelled name on it, which is super good. And it went out there. Tablestory was very kind to promote it, even though I was like, you don't need to say shit about it. I'll say something in my blurb, and that's fine at the end of the show, but they're like, you gotta go get that book. You gotta go get it.
We all bought it. I have 2 copies of it. I love it.
And thank you.
Right.
So yeah, it was just, I don't know, that was sort of it, start to finish. It was very hard. There was a lot of moving pieces, but inspiration was enough, and excitement carried me through, I guess. That's about it.
That's dope, man. It's just, I worked in comics, and granted, when you're doing your own thing, you don't have to worry about other people's deadlines and stuff like that. But you set these, it's something about being your own boss, I'm my worst boss. I would never want to be working under me, if I was a different person, because I'm just such a drive person.
Sure.
I have to set those deadlines and go. How did it feel the moment that you saw your first copy sale? Is that yes!
Yeah, dude. Okay, so I wanted to set expectations because I was like, I don't know how well this book is going to do. Because one, there's people out there that's going to support you. That's lovely. But how is it going to do for those people that really have nothing invested in you at all.
Yeah.
How's it going to work, then? So I was like, okay, if 20 copies can get sold to people, then I'll feel like I did good enough, right? I set such a simple number, a very low, simple number that I was mostly confident I was going to hit, but but then, it kept going, then it got hundreds and then the thousands, and I went, I was like, okay. And it was disassociating, I guess. My book has never gotten to, and it really will never get to the point that some of the big authors will get, but that was never a goal of mine. I wanted to create a story that people could read, enjoy fairly quickly. I mean, I would say this as a joke, but I do mean it. It's kind of a toilet read. It's a kind of book that you can sit down and you can just sort of go through it. It's not like, it doesn't weigh heavily on you. It kind of flows chapter to chapter really well. I think the dialogue did well. It was just, I really tried to design it to make it an easy read for anybody to just pick up and enjoy. And that was it. That was it. Like, you enjoy it. If you like it, that's great. If you don't, that's okay. No problem. I asked people for a lot of feedback. Most feedback I got was spelling and grammar, mostly spelling. And that's great to know, because now I really realize that I can't spell. Not well, anyway.
I don't think any of us can. We spend too many time shortening things. So.
Well, that's true. That's very true. But it was really good. There was such a lovely response. So it was heartwarming, but it was also kind of didn't feel real for a good while there.
Yeah. I mean, you're putting yourself out there, man. You're putting your creative genes out there as well. And at the end of the day, it's just like, whenever you feel passionate about something, there's always gonna be those people, whether they love it or they hate it, and it's just like the in-betweens. We talk about how we don't really care for the people that hate it, but they do help. The in-betweens are the ones that are just like, it was good. You're like, just tell me how you really fucking feel, okay? Don't even sugarcoat it. Just give it to me raw. That's kind of what we want. But nah, dude, I look forward to more Aaron books. Hell, I even want to know audible books. I already put myself out there and was like, dude, if you want to do audible, I'm here for you, for voiceover, anything.
Dude, I would love to do a book with a cast.
You should.
That is my goal, is a proper cast.
Dude, I'm telling you, you think you put that bad boy on like Audible, Spotify, anything, people will go ham for it. But right now, Audible books are the go-to. Like,
that's true.
I listen to them when I walk, when I work out, when I drive. Like, it's my go-to. It got me through my ex job, I should say. Sure. I could not make it through the day without Audibles. It was
They're great.
Yeah,
and they're great. They're so entertaining. Yeah.
Zone out and they can do work. But I'm proud of you, man. I mean, it takes a lot to be able to put out a book like that, or just to say I'm going to write a book, and then you go through the whole shenanigans of it all. Because a lot of people say I want to write a book, and they just like literally just put a bunch of notes down on paper, and they call it a day.
I mean, I was very fortunate that Amazon has a self-publishing service. I conversed with a few different publishing companies, and essentially it was, if it wasn't a no, it was maybe, but maybe not exactly what you've given us. It was a series of like, and you sort of treat it like your baby. It's like, this is something I've created. I want to make sure that what my voice is my voice. I want that out there as is. So but when you're unknown and you don't have much going behind you, as there's no backers going, yeah, dude, you're gonna have to read this guy's book. And I mean, not really, like, not within that world, within that sort of literary world. I didn't have anyone to do that. And even putting yourself out there, it is, the best case is they go, sure, and they put it on a pile, and you have no idea when they're gonna get around to it. Yep. So I was very happy to go through the Amazon route. I still think that if anybody does want to dabble with it, it has been a great resource for me. It comes with its own caveats, as everything does. But I was really happy that it existed, that I had that opportunity through that.
You have a book on Amazon. That's freaking sweet, man.
It's a little nuts. It still gets me sometimes.
Little bucket list check. I mean, we can't wait for more. Well, we just heard. There you go. And there's your icebreaker. The Aaron B. Wrights on Twitter, if you guys want to follow. and follow his journey with creating these books and other things. Incredible. Now let's reverse time. Let's go back into time. We're gonna be a time mage today, as I like to theme the show. We're gonna go back in time a little bit. Baby, I'm about to say baby B Rice. Baby Black. Baby Aaron Black. You have siblings? You only child or?
Oh yeah. So okay, I have one half brother, and then I have a step brother and a stepsister.
Sweet.
Yeah, it really depends on how much you want me to go into all of that. There are some aspects of family stuff I'm happy to go into. Some stuff that I will hold off a little bit as a normal thing.
We
of
respect
course.
the people,
Of course. But yeah, so as for siblings, I have a few, but not very close.
Not very close.
At
Okay,
all. Yeah.
that's where I was shooting for. Sometimes you grow up with people that you're extremely close with. Sometimes you grow up with people you're not. I'm an only child, so I don't know what that feels like at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's I got lucky. My cousin was like my brother, so he was that friend that I had that was as close as that.
I get
Very
that.
lucky.
I had that. I had a cousin, my first cousin. And he was like my brother. We grew up together. We don't talk anymore. But it is what it is. We took way different paths, and that's just how it is. And I appreciate the times that we had when I was younger. So growing up, what was childhood Aaron Black like, or what were you into? Because
sure. Yeah.
Now seeing who you are now, I feel like you learned a lot of life lessons growing up. So
yeah. I never had a bedroom growing up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I slept on couches. Never had a stable home outside. So it's kind of strange. My mother and my father split when I was 2.
Oh, wow.
My father's life was and still is very stable. He eventually got remarried. He owns a business, and he's still doing well. Doing well.
Good for him.
But I lived with my mother, and I can't really speak to the courts as much now, but the courts then, usually they would make sure the kids went with the mother, even if there were a lot of blaring warning signs. They still did that.
Right.
My mother had a lot of different issues here and there, but stability was the biggest one. There was a lot of leaping around. I had a few stepfathers here and there, and I moved all over the place. Various trailers, small homes. Occasionally I would go back with my Nana and live with her for a while. And honestly, it was interesting because there's a lot of, I didn't have a lot of toys growing up. A lot of the things just didn't make it on the trip for one reason or another from one place to the next. So outside of clay, which I still love to do clay, I'm fairly adept at it. I didn't have a lot of toys that I was able to hold on to for very long, not until I got much older. I still have my Nintendo 64 over here from when I got that the Christmas they came out. That's a story to itself. But I was I was much more of a nerd growing up, and I think that's an endearing term. But yeah, dude, anime was one of those things in the 90s, if you could get it, then you were sort of lucky.
You were lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember watching fucking Ninja Scroll and being like, what is this?
Wait. What age were you watching Ninja
I was too young for it. Let me say that. But no one was around, and I was like, what is...
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. Other than the bees shooting out of somebody's back, I did learn a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that... Yeah, I was big into comics, loved Spider-Man. But I remember there was this one year where I had a magazine, and it was like a deal. Pay $20 and you get a box of comics, 50 comics, they're random.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, dude, this is awesome. Weird fucking comics, man. I mean, like Image Comics, which wasn't as familiar. I don't even know if they still do stuff anymore. But
Tom McFarlane's still around here.
Oh, yeah? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they still
awesome.
do stuff. Yep.
So I remember I got some crazy shit, dude. And I was so blown away and so interested by it. And I think that, for comics, I was able to hold on to the majority of those as I continue to age. And then, dude, TV was... I was fortunate that no matter where I went, TV was always an option. Even if it was just Wheel of Fortune at night. At least there was something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got into anime slowly. Fucking, I remember Sailor Moon. I was like, I'm digging this. And then Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, like it just stuff that dragged me in. And my love for anime just kind of went from there. But yeah, as a kid, I wasn't particularly athletic. It took me until I got to the military to get to that point. But video games was a big part of it whenever I could do that. My cousin, his family doted on him a fair amount, which was lovely because he had like a pet PlayStation and could hang out with him and play that sort of stuff with him. So yeah, weekends spent playing whatever video games we could rent from the local, store and play through those. And I mean, that was my childhood. It was harsh. It was difficult. I've got some stories that I wish I didn't, but it did mark me, and a lot of what I have gone through and learned, I've tried to use, which I think is, I think that's the point of life is the worse things are for you, the more you should try and learn and remember, and hopefully help someone else along the way. Yeah. And that's much easier said than done. It's hard. But in another way, I look at everything, my childhood and how things went, and I was actually still fairly fortunate. I mean, my father was stable. He did pick me up every other weekend. Okay. I would go over there, and even though, and I hated this, they would make me do yard work. Like, what the fuck, man? They make me pull weeds, but they had a computer. Dude, yeah. But they had a computer. And I remember, and I'm this old, I remember my dad picked me up and he goes, Aaron, we have the internet. And I remember like movies like Johnny Mnemonic and stuff. I'm like, oh, dude, is it like this crazy 3D world? And he goes, no. It's like a book. It's like a book. It's a page and you can read on your screen. And I'm like, I'd never been so disappointed in my life. First thing I did is I got onto the computer. I was like, cartoonnetwork.com, and then slowly watching the images, slowly loading.
Oh God.
So there was a part of my life. It was almost like growing up. I had the opportunity for sort of a both sides of the track view. Like I got to see what stability and success was every other weekend, and I had the opportunity to see sort of level of destitute on the other. It's a unique perspective that I wouldn't want anyone to have to deal with or go through. But I still consider myself very fortunate. My dad's wonderful. Taught me really the proper way to respect everyone. Just a recognition that everybody is. There's a name for it, and I cannot remember what it is. And I'll need to look this up. But there's this phenomena of if you're driving down the road and you see someone in a car passing you, and then you have a realization that person has an entire life. They have ups and downs, and
like you never know.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that person exists, and they are going through their own thing. Like in their head, they're an island to themselves. They have their own thoughts. It's not just about you. My dad was really good at sort of directing me to that mindset that it's not about you. And I really appreciate it. Getting into the perspective of other people is probably why, it's one of the reasons I do a good job at role-playing. And the other reason is masking, I've gone through a lot, and I don't always want that to show on my face. So growing up, you just sort of learn to be comedic, to diffuse the situations that are awful, and you learn how to put on a brave face or say the right thing, which actually, funny enough, carried forward into the military. As a cook, like on my first boat, I was talking to 120 people three times a day as I'm feeding them, and you get into this routine of just like, hello, you doing? Hey, how's it going? Hey, Alvarez, how you doing? How's that? You been working out? You look like it. How many eggs you want? 3. Gotcha. So you get into this routine of really communicating with people and trying to match. And I really appreciate you using this term yesterday, match energy. It's really important.
Yep.
matching that energy with somebody when you're communicating with them. It's not that it should be used to disarm somebody, but
Correct.
it can be positively disarming.
Yeah.
Giving them the opportunity to settle down and go, okay, I can talk with you. And I really liken it to my childhood and to the military for giving me that ability, I guess.
Yeah. No, I think it's really interesting. You know, a lot of kids growing up don't realize how fortunate they are. I was very fortunate, you know, to have both parents stick around. I mean, did they argue? Yes. At times, did they almost split? Yeah, absolutely. You know, being the only child and going through that was like rough, you know, and I was just like, well, let me do something stupid so they both have something to agree on, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Right?
Yep, I get it.
As a kid,
Absolutely.
you should never think like that. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, I don't want my mom and dad to split. Let me just, if I can do something in school, get in trouble, get my butt whipped. At least they both doing something together, you know? Like,
yeah, dude. Yeah, you meet people with like that superhero complex. There's a good chance that that's because of their parents and whatever was going on. Because you do feel like it's like maybe I can fix this. And oh my God, if you do something and it works out, then you're just reinforcing it in your own head. It's like, fuck, I guess I'll do this again.
Yeah.
It worked.
It's whatever to keep them together, you know. Still to this day, they've been married for 41 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, 41
Really
years,
good.
and it's a long time, and you know, it's rough. It's rough going to, like, you know, taking me and my wife go over the house, and it's like, yeah, sometimes it's just like hot and cold. There's no in between, no warm. It's always hot and cold, you know. And it's just
absolutely.
like, geez Louise, I don't want the 40 years of marriage to look like this for me, you know. So I try to learn from that. But one thing that my dad told me a long time ago, because you know, you go through that point in your life where you're just like, I can't wait to leave, you know, or I have, you know, maybe you say the fabled words of I hate you, you know.
Yeah,
you don't mean
yeah.
it. It's just anger. My dad told me one day, he was like, you're going to be just like me. And I was like, I hated it. I didn't want to hear it. I was like, no. And I ended up being just like him in some instances, you know, and I look back at it and I was just like, well, he's a great guy. I mean, he never had a problem with him not taking care of me, you know.
Sure.
But the life lessons you learn growing up, Aaron, and like going through all that stuff, it's I'm not shocked because it's you, but I'm very much, if you would have told me, hey, I would have never guessed you going through that, because you're such a stand-up guy, that it's interesting that you took such a hard life lesson early on and turned it into a positive one and instilled that into your lifestyle. I mean, granted, we don't know what goes behind closed doors. I'm pretty sure you have your moments and this, that, and the other, like everyone else.
Oh, yeah, no,
you know?
no. Like, as nice and as calm as I am most of the time, I have emotions. I have my ups and downs.
Yeah.
I have insecure moments where I feel dude, and it's like you can't stop it, but internally you're sitting there and you're like, do people hate me? I don't think they do, but do I have proof to the and then you just go down this fucking hole.
Yeah.
Mentally, and you have to drag yourself out of it, and it fucking sucks, man.
It does. It does.
It's, you know, but the biggest thing that I definitely try to do is present a level of honest positivity when I can. That doesn't mean I'm always in the best mood.
Right.
But there's my mom, all her problems aside, gave me the best piece of advice, which I still tell people, and which is happiness is having something to look forward to. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. So if you're having tacos soon, just try and be excited for those tacos.
Yeah.
Like, don't hype it up too much because, you know, you can have bad tacos, but just, hey, I'm going to have tacos later. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Little things can get you so far in the day. It's not necessarily the healthiest thing you can do. And I would love to, at some point, we'll talk a little bit, therapy and stuff that I've done.
Yes.
Which is super important. But there are a lot of things that you can do to keep yourself sort of stable, because sometimes it's not the reality, it's the chemicals inside of you, and they suck. There's nothing you can do, and you're like, I have to wait this shit out. I just have to wait, you know, I'm uncomfortable in my skin and I have to wait this shit out. Great.
Yep.
It's hard, but
it is.
It's I don't know, it's like there's a learning curve, I guess, to it or something. Yeah.
I laugh it off sometimes when I play like MMOs or games that have inventory systems, and they're like, damn, Frank, you know, are you going to lighten that load? I'm like, welcome to my life. My life is an inventory system. I just bottle it all in until it's about to explode and I can't put no more in. You know, it's not healthy. But like I said, we'll get into that. So, yeah, growing up and everything, you went to school and stuff, correct? You went to school.
Oh yeah.
Do all the whole
Graduated.
9 yards, graduating,
Yeah.
all that stuff. How did that play a role in you going? Did you go to college, or you just said, "Nah, I'm doing this"?
So, yeah. So because of, I guess my financial state coming out of high school, I didn't have the funds for it. I did try to go to community college. I didn't have the focus. I love my teachers. I love the subject matter. I did have things I wanted to do, but dude, you just get done with high school. All I wanted to do was hang out, play video games, eat pizza, and not care. That's all I wanted. So I did that for about 6 months, and then something really interesting happened. My dad, he's like, "Hey, we're gonna have a family reunion. All of our family from the West Coast is going to be going to Utah. One of my aunts owns a condo in this ski area in Utah." It's like, it's the summer, there's not a lot of people there, but we're going to all meet up. You can meet some of your family you've never met before. I was like, okay, cool. So get on a plane, go to Utah, meeting all my family members. Still not sure what I want to do with my life, but my aunt was in the Coast Guard, and she's not really selling it, but she's talking about her experiences. She's talking to me about different things, and she goes, it might work out. It might be a good fit for you. It's military, but it's life-saving. That is the main job. It's drug interdiction. It's a lot of different things. But you might want to give it a shot. And I went, okay. And I looked into it, and I started talking to a recruiter, and this motherfucker, he's like, "Dude, have you seen Baywatch?" Oh, just like that. Motherfucker lied to me so hard.
I was like, slow-mo?
Yeah, dude, there was no slow-mo. I remember I went to boot camp, and and it was good because it was like, well, I'm going to go to boot camp because I'm going to spend my 4 years. I'm going to get that college money, and maybe by then I'll be ready for college. That was my goal. There wasn't any super nationalist pride going on. I was like, dude, I need college money. Actually, in boot camp, they asked us why we joined, and we had to go down the line, and people were saying all these sort of things. And I'm like, for college money. And I thought I was going to get my ass kicked by my company commander. He goes, "Thanks for the honesty." And then he kept going.
Hey, that goes a long way.
I just fucking blurted it out. I was like, for college money. So yeah, I mean, and that was the main reason. But then, I'd gotten married, had a child, and because of that and financial security, I ended up going past those 4 years into 10 years. Which was
I was going to ask that. Was that a choice, or were you like, well, I'm in this boat, I might as well go ahead and keep on sailing?
Yeah. So the way it worked out, and it was sort of weird. The way it works is you get stationed somewhere, and then for us in the military, well, in the Coast Guard and in the Navy to some degree, but a little bit less, they try not to always keep you on boats. There are land stations. They recognize the stress that a boat has versus a land station, but I can tell you at this point, I wish I had stayed on more boats. Land stations are worse for a lot of different reasons. But I was going to get one. I was going to get a independent duty, which means I wasn't just going to be the cook of this place. I was going to be the manager. I was going to buy all the stuff, take care of all the paperwork, do the money, make sure all that sort of stuff. So I had to go to a special school for it. And they were offering all these sort of things, like you can go here, you can do this. And I was like, you know what? I mean, I've got this family. I guess I'll just keep going. It's solid. It's a solid job. It's good pay, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to do it. So I ended up signing up for a 6-year contract, which gave me a nice bonus. We ended up moving to Burlington, Vermont, which this could be a little triggering for people, but I was heavily bullied in Burlington.
Really?
My command were... I don't like to typecast people, so you'll have to forgive me, and I do not want to
This is your
offend.
show. It's fine.
I know, but I don't want to offend anybody here, but they were a group of hunters. They were definitely redneck is about the best term that I can use. And I grew up in that environment. I knew what that was like because I grew up in the mountains. But I was never one to just not be me. So I was into the same shit that I was into, same music, anime, all that sort of shit. God, dude, I was physically and mentally bullied for 3 years in this position from my command. And it got to a point, and again, this is a heavy one. I got to the point where I was ready to take my own life. I was at this point.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my conversation with my wife, went to the hospital, went through a bunch of stuff, and really went down the list of all the issues. And I mean, it was just this place, this place, this people. It was awful. I wanted out of the military, but I was stuck. I mean, at this point, I was stuck for another 4 years.
Oh my God.
I've only had 2 years, and it God, dude, they used to make me work 14 straight days, and they were 14-hour days, and I was exhausted. But I did come back from that. Had therapy. My wife helped me get through everything, and it was a slow process. But eventually, I was at a fairly stable point. I got another job on another station, independent duty again, which, you think like, oh my God. But dude, mentally at this point, I was like, I'm going to fucking roll up in this motherfucking place. And I'm going to tell the command, I'll say, listen, I will do my fucking job. But my family comes first. I want you to know that. I did that. Nice. I ended up going to St. Joseph, Michigan, and I went and told my chief that dude loved me. He thought it was great.
Finally.
I didn't find out till years later. He went home to his wife. He goes, dude, I think this cook's gonna be good. He is fucking on it.
That's dope. That's dope.
And I was, dude. I came into that place and I found that 3 months worth of paperwork was missing, and there's no real official way of dealing with that. So I was drafting memos. I had a timeline of shit of when they must have gone missing before I even came in. I submitted shit up the chain. I was like, I am not getting in trouble for anybody's bullshit.
Yeah.
And that was the next 3 years of my life was at this stage. It was great. If I had have had that opportunity, if I had have been that person, beforehand, I'd probably still been, I would have retired by now, but I would have stayed in the military.
Yeah.
But I was done. I'd been burnt. I'd gone through everything. I was very protective of myself and my family, and I just I needed to get away from that stuff.
Yes.
So we started the process of figuring out how to get out. We found a pretty good route, had a lot of support, and eventually my time came. I moved away, I think, for the next 2 years. Well, so I have PTSD and social anxiety disorder, and I won't go into all of the different situations that happened in the military that caused that. It was a long time, but Burlington was a big part of that. So I had to go through the VA process and talk to them and get that shit figured out, go into therapy and all this sort of stuff. For the first couple of years, constant nightmares. I mean, I would just go right back to these different places throughout my entire career and wake up and just be miserable. It took years of therapy and medication changes and everything else like that just to find a level of stability. And there was this one doctor, I sat down with them and I'm like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm going through. Here's all this stuff. And they're like, well, we want to give you this sort of stuff because that's not normal. What you're going through is not normal. And what's weird is I didn't realize it. And that's the biggest thing about mental illness is I think there's a point that people need to get to recognize that it's not normal. And it's okay to recognize that. It is okay to go, this isn't life. And this is not how anyone should ever live.
Shouldn't be. Correct. Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
It has taken a lot. It is a constant learning experience. It's even now, it is I've got a lot of tools. I've got a lot of things, and we'll go into some stuff in a little bit as well. But mental illness just stays with you, and your history is your history. But again, I will never treat anyone the way I was treated, ever.
Yeah.
I will never. I don't care what anyone does to me. I will never be that to them. It's just, I'm going to say the word evil, and maybe it's not the right word to use, but dude, it just feels fucking evil.
Yeah. There's some people in this world I question. Their motives, what made them wake up and do what they did. I ultimately go back and sometimes I say, man, maybe you had a really effed up childhood, but that's no excuse for you to dump trauma on people.
I had a
like
fucked up childhood.
You're not treating people like that. Yeah, that's wild, man. I hate that because just knowing you, I'm asking myself how could they? But then again, knowing you, I'm like, stupid people would be stupid just because they woke up hating their life, their job. They probably hated a lot of stuff, and they just hated the way you just smiled and went about your day.
Oh,
it's
dude,
just that bad, man. You know,
it is, and I don't harbor any sort of. I don't actually harbor any sort of anger towards these people, and that took a while. But the biggest reason I don't harbor anger towards them is because they're not worth my emotions, and I'm the only one feeling them. You know, like, so if I'm upset or I'm mad, we all do that thing where you're in the shower and you have those fake arguments, but there's a point where it's like, I'm just exhausting myself. It doesn't affect them in any way, and I'm just making myself miserable.
If anything, it's feeding them.
Yeah, so it's like, I think it's better just to recognize that even though it may come in waves from time to time, it does lessen. You just have to recognize that it's not worth your time, and you are worth your time. You know, like you just find the things that are good for you in life, and try and focus on those, and try and push past those. I don't know, those memories that drag you down. It's hard.
Yeah, I like the fact that you said I just wanted to get out, because at the end of the day, man, I was trapped at my job of going on 10 years in IT for a hospital. And people, when you told people, like, they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a mobile platform software engineer. And they're like, oh my God, it's so. I'm like, no, it's just a fancy name. Believe me, I hate my job. Like I didn't hate the work. I hated the people. That was the difference. And, and I always had that manager trying to hold me down because he was afraid that I was gonna go past him, but I never wanted his job. I just want to be treated as a human. People don't realize that. They create their own assumptions and problems, man, and then dump it on you. Like, you're the issue. Anyway.
Yeah, dude, people will always be people's worst enemy.
Yep.
That's just how we are.
Yep.
So.
Yep. But the good news is you turned out pretty damn okay, brother.
yeah, for the most part, I did okay.
It sucks that we got to go through these trials and tribulations and going through stuff. I just recently went through something I just never thought I'd ever go through. And, sometimes it sucks. You don't want to ever go through stuff like that, but I've learned a lot in that short time that stuff happened. I was just like, you know what? When I thought I would give up on things, I showed my strength.
Yeah.
And when I think I'm the strongest, I'm at my weakest.
Yeah.
And it's that life lesson that here I am at 40, just learned it. Something that people would probably learn a lot earlier, or maybe even a lot later when it's too late, unfortunately.
That's true. Yeah.
I applaud you for not giving up, honestly. Hanging in there, turning a really stupid, bad situation into a strength, and like using it to propel yourself forward, and then knowing your worth, and then going at it at your next boss and telling them, hey man, this is how it's going to be. If you want me, you want me. If you don't, you don't. But if you make this decision, the right decision, I won't let you down. And obviously they saw it. And that takes a lot of balls, man, to do. So good on you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So military, you finally, you're done with it. You already have your wife and your first.
Yeah, so I have 3 children, but this is I mean, you
can go into it anytime you want, brother.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump into it now. This is very likely to be some level of triggering for people, so it's very important that if it is triggering, please walk away, find something, do something comforting for yourself. 2.5 years ago, I lost my oldest son. He was 16, about to turn 17. And I won't go into the details of all of that, but it was hard. It was hard on the family, still is. It was devastating. I was very fortunate to have the family that I have and the friends that I have. This was actually, I was still on Rhyme at the time, and Frank knew. He was there, very supportive, very there for me. And I always appreciate you, buddy. Always,
same,
always.
Brother. Always there, man.
It was life-altering, which of course it's going to be, but you can never explain to someone what the fuck that is, what the fuck that feels like. So for the next 2 years,
I'm gonna be on screen with you. I don't want you. I'm here. For you.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, for the next 2 years, or 2.5 years almost now, it has been spent trying to learn what normal is supposed to be again, and
what the hell is it even that?
It's not. I mean, I can tell you that I still have, I don't have PTS dreams as much as I used to. I have dreams surrounding this now, and it's devastating. I hate it. It makes life difficult, but I have two other children, and they're teenagers. They're in high school. They're lovely. They're fucking brilliant. They are hilarious. They have a good chunk of my sarcastic humor, which will catch me off guard all the time. I'm very fortunate to have my family. I'm very fortunate to have what I have. I will never really get over that loss. You can't. But my goal has been to try and take it and use that loss as much as I can to grow as much as anyone can. And it's something that I try and tell people as much, especially now that loss is loss. Losing a child is awful, but losing a close friend for whatever reason can be just as awful. And no one should ever compare loss in any way. That's sort of things that humans go through. It's an unfortunate condition that no one gets out alive. You know, we have timers. But I've also been of the mindset that I'm actually going to hold that until the very end of the episode. There's something I don't want to say till the very end, but I have gone through EMDR therapy, and for those of you that don't know what EMDR is, it is a fantastic, well, I will say personally fantastic. For anyone, when it comes to therapy, that is something that you should decide for yourself. Find the person that you're comfortable with, listen to the options available, and try. It is so important to try. The EMDR that I did was incredibly heavy, and I'm still not done. My therapist was pregnant, and she had to take time off for her child, which I was like, absolutely, and when we're ready, we'll pick it back up. But I did session upon session where you sit down in a memory and usually there's a level of stimulation going on. It's a physical stimulation where you're doing this, or maybe you're hearing something, or there's this thing that you do, and it's really interesting, the science behind it, and I won't go into all that sort of stuff, but essentially you sort of sit in this memory, and you do this sort of stimulation thing while you sit in this, and you talk about it, and you go through it, and then they sort of guide you into, well, if you could do something else, if you could feel a different way, if there was another thing that you could do after, what, and you go through these processes. And my therapist was wonderful. She gave me these neat little tools where it's like, well, I'm going to give you something called the vault. And what you're going to do is, in your mind, you're going to imagine you've got a vault, okay? And you're going to put the thing that we're talking about in that vault. Now, it's not going anywhere. It's always there if you need to deal with it, but it's also behind that door or whatever you want it to be. It's going to be in that vault for now. And it was like this lovely way of allowing myself to take this terrible thing that happened and set it aside. And it's like, I'm not leaving you. I'm not getting rid of that. I can't deal with it every day. I can't constantly sit in that. I can't feel that concept. Who can? Wow. And then we would come back and we would talk about it, and we would pull things out of the vault, and we would talk about it. And it's all mental games, but everything's in your head anyway. And it was lovely. And I don't think I ever realized that you're allowed to forgive yourself for not wanting to feel something. And wow. It's okay. It's really okay. You know, we have to deal with our own stuff, with people around us, with the world today and everything else, and all the shit. And it is okay to step away for a while. It is okay to go, you know what? I'm going to focus on those tacos. That's all I'm going to focus on right now. I'm going to eat them and let life be for a little bit. And at the same time, you got to be careful, because if you don't revisit those things, they will burst out of you. Yep. It's just like any other emotion. You know, when it comes to relationships, and this is something that, you know, going back the 20-something years of marriage, there was this thing that we would call socks on the floor. And the way it works is, when you're in a relationship with somebody and you're living in the same space, it takes a while to get used to each other, right? Yeah. But sometimes there's a level of expectations that aren't, they're so reasonable. They're so reasonable, the expectations. And one is socks on the floor. So you get up in the morning, okay, and one of the people says to the other, you left your socks on the floor. Do you think you could just put those right in the hamper? And they go, you know what? I'll get to that. I will get to that. But they don't. And then the next day, they're like, hey, do you think you could, I'm seeing 2 pairs of socks there. Do you think you can put those in the hamper? And the other person goes, I totally will, just not right now. And there's this animosity that builds up. And it gets to this point where, you know, you as the person asking for something to be done for you and for the other person and for you as an us, you know, as a we, like, we're living in this space together, and this isn't a necessarily difficult thing, but you get so frustrated that then in your head you go, you know what? I'm not going to say it anymore. And then they're going to see how bad that pile really gets, but they don't see it.
Yeah.
The issue with this, it's always communication. It always comes down to communication, but it's also this recognition that when someone is telling you or asking you to put the socks away and you don't do it, it's not about the socks. It's the fact that they're asking you to do something and you're not acknowledging it. You are not respecting what they are trying to communicate with you. And as people, it is so hard to communicate. We aren't really that great at it.
No.
When it comes to emotions, it's really hard.
We're horrible.
Yeah. So it's that's just one of those sort of concepts that you have to recognize, is that sort of respect that you give to other people.
Yeah.
But you also have to give it to yourself.
Yes.
You have to recognize that sometimes internally you do have those socks on the floor and you are not paying attention to them, and the shit's piling up inside, and you really need to clean them, and you need to respect yourself enough to take the time to do that. It's hard to do.
Ooh, you hit home, brother.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all I'll say. You hit home. Communication is you know, I'll be married for 6 years coming up.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you. It's a learning process, because you never, you know, when you first get together, you're just like, I'm going to be the saint of the saint. They're never going to have to worry about anything they want. You know, you're always throwing that. And though sometimes you focus on those vows way too much and you don't really see the small things that really matter, you know? And communication was like, you know, I used to talk to my wife when we were dating, and I was like, what's your deal breaker? You know, we go through the deal breaker things, and mine was communication and trust. You know, it's just like those 2 things you got to have hand in hand to make them work, you know? But I didn't realize how hard communication really freaking is, you know, because there's different forms, there's so many layers, and also it feeds off of the other person. And when that person says something, like you said, the socks on the floor thing, if that doesn't translate well to that person, communication gets shut down, because they're just like, well, no matter what he says, or no matter what I say, I'm going to think the way I want to think. He's going to think the way he thinks. And it's just always going to be this way. And I'm a hoarder. I hoard feelings, you know?
Oh yeah. I get
you. And then I get to a point where I'm not intentionally trying to be mean. I'm not intentionally trying to do anything, but it just comes out. And unfortunately, the way we are built, the person that we're closest to, that we love the most, always receive that crap.
Oh yeah.
Even if it has nothing to do with them. And it's something that I'm learning to control and be better about.
It's hard, man. The human condition is fucked.
It's so bad. Because we don't understand our brains and how it works, man.
Dude.
You know?
Something that we recognized early on, and we still continue to actively mention, is that divorce happens. That means it can happen to you. People can believe in soulmates and all that sort of stuff, and that's fine. I think, you know, your system of beliefs, those are yours to have personally. That's great. But regardless of that, people take work. You have to work on yourself. That's just the nature of life. That's the nature of growing and learning. And then you work together with another person. And you have to recognize that there's always a chance that people can grow apart. As much as you want to feel that there's that fairy tale ending, there's not always that fairy tale. It happens. Divorce happens. And being ready for that, being prepared for that, is something that I don't think you ever really can be. But recognizing it can happen is something that is helpful for people to continue to work on relationships as much as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it going to necessarily stop things? No. But at least you could get to that point where you do. Yeah, and you have that conversation where you recognize and you do talk to, you know, your significant other, and you say, look, I don't know how things have gotten to this point. Maybe we should work on things. Maybe we should go to counseling and therapy and stuff like that. And I've been to we've been to therapy and stuff like that before, and it's a positive thing. And that going to therapy doesn't mean it's going to save your marriage.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. But it does mean that you can at least learn a little bit about yourself and the other person and why you're going in the directions you are and the reasons behind that. Because, we're social creatures. We want to reach out and find those people, and we want to bring them close, and we want to be with them. And I think it is, I don't want to use the word dangerous, but it is kind of dangerous if you don't know yourself and then you put yourself in a relationship with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you're subjecting them to. That's
true.
irresponsible, but we're also not aware. It's kind of like what the definition of ignorance is. If you don't know, you don't know. It's not willful ignorance.
Yes.
It's just you didn't know. And you have to learn that stuff. And then you need to be okay with recognizing it and saying, oh, shit, I didn't know that. I was wrong. I'm going to change some stuff.
Yes. Yes.
It's humbling and can even feel humiliating, but again, that's just people. That's just how we feel about shit.
Also, moods can change. People can change. The thing is like, I'm lucky to have my wife, and I'm lucky that we can sit down and talk. The one thing that we've learned recently is that, and it's kind of funny, we were watching like a thing called trash TV.
Oh yeah, sure, for sure.
We like
trash, yeah.
No promotions to these people like Love Is Blind and stuff like that.
Oh,
Trash
dude,
TV.
or
Love
like,
it.
I know about it. Go for it.
And the latest season's our favorite because there was a lot of mature people on that season. They were all young,
Sure.
And the one thing that we heard constantly is like giving yourself grace, and it like hit us in the heart because we were like, holy shit, we don't do that, do we? We don't give ourselves grace. It's okay to forgive yourself. It's okay to like say that, hey, this was a mistake I may have made, but I'm going to learn from it. Or I maybe I should check the way I speak or talk to myself. I've done that. I've locked myself away in a car. I drove away and I talked to myself how I would talk to people. And I'm like, man, I do sound kind of aggressive, even though I didn't think I was aggressive. I don't no ill intent, but I really got to check myself. But it's okay.
Yes,
to be okay with this, and that was something that really helped me recently, is that knowing that I can go to my wife, look in her eyes and say, it's okay. Whatever we're going to make it through together. Okay. It's okay. And seeing that, man, this stuff that you went through is horrible, dude. And seeing the way you handled it and the way you weren't afraid. I'm trying to get emotional because I got really emotional hearing this about what happened with you.
Yeah.
Because it hit home on a lot of aspects. And I was just like, man, he showed up with a smile on his face still. He showed up thinking about everybody around him, but he should be selfish right now. Why is he not selfish? And I was like constantly asking myself that. You showed up to rhyme and you did your job. You did the thing. Like, I was just like, what is going on? How do you do that, man?
If I could, there's
Please.
there's multiple sides of that. I'll go with the negative aspect.
Okay.
The part about me that is unfortunate is that I will not put myself first. It's something I'm trying to work on. I won't put myself first. I do think about other people.
Just like that, brother.
I
know how you feel.
Yeah, and it's hard, but I don't like how I feel when I let people down. And I know it's ridiculous to say, especially in the situation I went through. But that's the negative aspect. But there's the much more important positive aspects is Rhyme was routine. It was an escape. It was with people I trusted, and it was fun that I desperately needed.
Yeah.
And I did. I will eternally be thankful to you, to Whack. I mean, everybody there was great. And then it was this opportunity to continue to play this character out. I will say something kind of interesting, and my perspective about a lot of things have changed. And I think it's important that continues to happen for everyone in life. But I was really afraid for my character, Ray to die for the longest time, because you create this character, you have this idea for how you want their plans to go, and blah blah blah, and then this tragedy happened, and as we continued on, I was very aware that I was okay with him dying. It was okay because it would have been a part of his story. There's a lot of terrible things, and the loss will never equal the things that I've gained from that experience, but trying to find the positives as often as I can. I did learn a lot about the nature of letting go to some degree. And it's hard. And I really appreciate that you use the term, give yourself grace. It is something that we continue to tell our children, because it is so easy to beat yourself up. It's so easy to tell yourself you're not good enough. It's not okay. All of these fucking things.
Aaron, you hit on so many no's, brother. Please keep talking.
No, yeah, for sure. But I mean, for the most part, man, it's just I needed it. It's also why I eventually got into Wild RP and stayed in it for as long as I did. It was a good escape to the point where it almost became a negative thing. And I was fortunate enough that I had, my family saying, you're putting a lot of time into this, and there's still a reality to be a part of. That's really hard for all of us. I don't know a single no, but I don't know a single person that doesn't want, especially in the sort of circles that we run in, especially with Twitch and us as gamers, and we're into stories about other worlds and different races of people and languages and adventures and all these things that you just will not really ever experience in your real life. But real life is still good enough to keep your attention too.
Damn right.
It's hard to do that.
Yes.
I have social anxiety disorder from the military. It has been a trial because I go out into a grocery store. I have to know the exits. I have to know where everybody is.
Wow.
I can't. It's that like threat assessment, and I can't stop it. But it has taken a long time for me to finally be okay with going outside and standing outside and just looking at the clouds and just being. And that's enough. It's crazy, but it's enough. It's such a small thing. You go outside, whatever the landscape is around you. Maybe it's overcast, maybe there's a few clouds in the sky, maybe it's blue, but you're living in such a specific moment in time, and it is only you in that moment. It is just you. Inside your own head, all your own thoughts, all the things that you do to either praise yourself, beat yourself, all that sort of stuff. It's all there.
Yeah.
But it's okay to let it go and sit there in a moment and just breathe.
Yes.
And it's hard to recognize that. It's hard to allow yourself that sometimes,
Yeah.
We pile so much shit on top of ourselves.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, we constantly say the day's too short, life's too short. But it's funny how we keep saying that, but we don't live in the moment enough.
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I found myself. It's funny, man. I feel like me and you are like extremely best friends at this point because
dude.
There's so much I can relate to, and I almost feel like I need to do an episode 2 with you, another episode with you because, dude, you just hit on so many notes, and this is. I'm glad we dressed this way because this episode is completely different than any other episode we had, and I think it's super informative. This is no harm to anyone else. This is by far my favorite episode. I don't have to get through it, and I'm gonna already say it.
I'm gonna tell everybody else to get fucked, which is just completely out of character. But
no, you should. No, 100%. I'm getting so much out of this, and I think in chat, if I can only imagine people that are listening what you're getting out of this. I freaking did this, dude. This is okay. So therapy didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Multiple reasons why, and I'm not saying that all therapy is bad. It just didn't work for me the 3 times that I tried it.
Yeah.
Which is fine because I found my other allies. And I'm a big space nerd. I love space. I love space. If you didn't hear me, I love space. So I went out not too long ago. It was probably the end of last month, and I ran out recently last week. I went to take the trash out. Only my wife beats me too. I try to beat her to chores. We try to beat each other. And I was like, I'll do the trash. She's like, no. I was like, no, I'll do it. And I really give me this damn trash. I want it. And I just went outside and I looked up, man. It's been overcast, and man, the stars were out there, bro.
Yeah.
It was million. I was just sitting there I'm this big.
Oh man,
I'm this big. Why am I letting problems this big engulf me? The problems are smaller than me.
Yeah.
And that's my thing. I have to look up at the stars, and it brings me, it grounds me, you know, and it makes me like take that. I sigh a lot. I'm a sigher. It's funny. Me and PB were like in a meeting one day, and I do this a lot. That's how I rub my feelings back in me, dude. I can. Oh, it's not even about what we're talking about. It could be like something that happened a year ago. I'm just like pushing it back down because I'm about to explode, and it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And she was like, "Are you okay?" You know? And I'm like, I just do this randomly, and it's like my wife is like, when she hears me, goes, she's like, "What's wrong? What happened?" You know, and I'm just like, so I'm just taking a breath. I'm dying here, but I'm okay. You know, like,
dude. Okay, so yeah, same. Actually, you know, PTSD being what it is, mine is very smell triggered for whatever reason.
Yeah.
The amount of times that I've walked around this house, smelled something, and went, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I just need a minute. I'm gonna be all right." Yeah.
Now you know, babe. Now you know if you're listening. It
hurts.
It's not you. It's not anybody. It's just like sometimes it's gotta.
Things get you.
Yeah, I have palpitations too. Like, you know, I have tons of issues. The underlying issues, like we all do. And sometimes I just gotta take a breath, man. It's weighed heavy. You know, the weight of the world. But anyway, man. Thank you for sharing that. You know, we love you, Aaron. Like, at the end of the day, bro, like that, it was disbelief when you told us. I was literally like, what do I do? What do I even say?
And there's nothing you can. And for anyone, for anyone listening, that's okay. There's nothing you can do. You can't give a fix. And this is very important, just in relationships too.
Yes.
Sometimes people don't need a fix. They just need you to say that sucks.
Sometimes to listen, right?
Yeah. That's all they need.
Oh, man.
And there's nothing wrong with telling people that that's what you need, and say, I don't need a fix. I just need you to know it sucks. And then let that person go, you know what? That fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's enough, man.
That's funny that you say that. I was just bringing this up with my wife the other day, because I was just like, when somebody loses someone, everyone has these auto respawns, right? It's like Apple, like, you know, with that Apple typing, you just hit it, or even Gmail now just types out a response for you. You know, you just click a button and you want to. So when somebody passes away or something happens, they're just like, "Man, sorry for your loss." And you know, and I'm like, is that really the best thing to say? Sorry for your loss, like, But what do you do? Like, what
do you do?
When my wife lost her father early on, like he's still young. He's like, you know, his 50s, early 50s, and I'm just like. Oh my God, I'm living in this life. I don't know what to do. You know, all I did was hold her. And I just told her, I was just like, I wish I could say I understand what you're feeling, but I don't. And I know that if it happened to me, I would be a different person. Just know that I'm here for you. Yeah. And I just listened to her, and she goes through her moments. I don't even know if she's fully grieved yet, you know? So these are things that I don't even know if you fully grieved yet. Like, it's like,
I no. And, you know, there are the stages of loss, which for those of you that don't know, the stages of loss it's not one and done. You continue to go through them over and over and over again. I can't tell you how many times denial comes back around. But grieving is something that is lifelong, and I think that's I think it's important to recognize it. It'll never go away, but at times it could be better. That's probably about the best you can ever hope for. And when those moments, those positive moments come, it's worth it. You know, my family there's still moments that I applaud and I look forward to, and I am so excited to see when they happen with my family, because there's still life to live.
There's still here.
Things to do. Yeah, there's still things to do.
Such an amazing message.
Yeah, it is hard to get to that point, and it's hard to maintain, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
It's okay to not be okay. It really is.
Very good message.
Yeah.
I don't think we take that in enough. That it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, it's hard.
Man, that's wild. Okay, so your two children and and your wife. How do you like start to build from there? With, I mean, doing it for yourself is a lot already, but now you have like others that you are.
So life now is like it was before. It's just heavier. But we all continue to grow and do. And I mean, and again, a huge thank you to Tablestory for the amount of opportunities they've given me to play characters and just have, a chance to pour emotion into a lot of that stuff. And it's cathartic all by itself. But there's a lot of little things that I've gotten into. Journaling and resin and little projects come up. And, my son, he's gotten into, into coding and 3D printing and stuff like that. My daughter is as smart as a whip, and she's incredibly artistic. And it's just, you continue on, my wife got into pottery, and it's just there's you just have to move forward, even if it doesn't feel okay. You have to, because again, you can find, I guess, that zen, or you can find those moments where you are happy. It's hard though, because you will find a moment of happiness and then you'll want to beat yourself up over it, and then you have to tell yourself that you shouldn't beat yourself up. So then you beat up that aspect, and then you're like, well, I want to get back to where I was happy, please. But the moment's gone. And that happens a lot, and you have to sort of roll with it. And then over time you'll have longer moments that are happy, and you go, okay, this is good. It's just, it's hard. It hit all of us so terribly hard that it was just life altering. It is really taking us this long to get back to whatever normalcy we have. But I don't want to dwell on this forever. This is this sort of stuff.
It was a great transition. I was actually going to say that, all the stuff you've been through your life, man. It was like hammer and nail, and you're still straight. You're not bending. You're not going this way. You're not splitting wood. You're still standing straight. And I say, man, maybe that's your way of giving yourself grace. Is to keep standing tall and keep trying and keep going, taking it day by day. That's all we can really do, man. We got to keep going. And speaking of which, like you've done 2 great shows recently, Ashes of Eriador and currently Electric Dreams, Blade Runner, one with Wax Steven doing Ashes of Eriador, which was the Lord of the Rings. You should definitely go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. It's on all of our medias, YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah, watch them.
All that stuff. Watch them. And also, you play an amazing goddamn good dude. I feel like every time I see you on the screen, you just grow so much as an actor.
I appreciate that. That's very kind.
It's not, dude. Like, I told you, my wife is a huge fan of yours. Like, a huge fan of yours.
I'm gonna blush.
Yeah, she is. And your character in Blade Runner is very interesting to me. But before we get to that, let's talk about one. There's a show I did not mention, and that was Warhammer. It was a special show.
Oh yeah, dude.
Where a lot of things just hit. It's just like Warhammer's got a military aspect. Boom, military. You were in a lead position there. You're in a lead position here. You fit right in. You knew it. Knowing where we were going, knowing how dark Warhammer was and how that was going, how did you and the timing was like,
considering how
a little
it
too
was
close. When people, when they say too soon, it was too soon. How were you able to do that? There were some decisions you had to make during that whole thing, playing, the PTSD, dealing with like military, and on top of that, other things. How did you bring that together and strip yourself from your emotions and throw yourself into a character fully?
Well, a big part of that and role play in general is again giving yourself grace, both before and after. For that one specifically, doing the military stuff, I was very fortunate that the lovely people of Tablestory was like, hey, this is going to be some heavy stuff. Are you sure you're okay with doing that? And I was like, yeah, I think it's important. A little bit, I wanted to push myself and see what I could deal with and how well I would be able to deal with some of these things. There was a level of numbness coming off of everything still, and it was just this weird bag of I think it's okay to do this. The military stuff was hard because you remember I was able to say and do a lot of the things because I experienced it. I went through a lot of that sort of shit. So when it came to turning around and using it, it was familiar, very familiar. But I have an incredible support system, and I really think it comes down to that. I've got friends and family, and they are aware, and they are lovely people, and I really couldn't. There's a part of me that wants to say I don't deserve it, you know. And then
absolutely.
I know I appreciate that, but you know, I've been very fortunate to have found, you know, my friends. What I could say, my friends. You know, people that are there, that are aware, and I think it's a testament to a little bit of the TTPRG space all by itself, but not just that. I mean, I have a lot of friends that are in that and not in that, but they're just lovely people, and it's nice to see that they find a way to come together. You know, all of us just a bit broken, all of us just trying to find our way without a map, with no quest markers, and you're like, you gotta fucking figure it out, man. And at least you have someone over there going, I know, I'm trying to figure it out too, and you don't feel alone.
Yes.
That's pretty much how I was able to get through it. I had people around me that were there if I needed, and sometimes that's enough. Knowing that if it's bad enough, I at least know that I can say that out loud to these people, and they'll totally get it.
Yep. We'll always be there. It's incredible, man. You killed that role, by the way. You absolutely murdered that role.
I appreciate it.
I was very scared during that.
Died in that
thing.
Role. Oh, well, sorry, that's a spoiler. If you haven't seen it, that didn't happen. Sorry, damn it.
Yeah, that was really rough. I was kind of pissed. I was actually upset with the
direction of how that shit, dude.
I was actually, there was a couple of things I can talk on that I wasn't really happy with. But it was good for audience. It just wasn't. I was like, do you understand the timing on this, and why would you do? They're like, oh, Aaron's okay, great, we're gonna.
It was. There were definitely some things in
watch
there
the
that
show.
were.
We won't say it. Just watch the show.
Yeah. There's a lot of shit.
Aaron, when are you gonna play a character that has a happy ending?
No, well now hold on. Wait.
Wait. True. Okay.
Ray had an incredible. So and it's so happy to be doing this with you, Frank. Ray. So for you guys that don't know, Ray found himself a brother in Teriel. He found family that he didn't have. He had someone that tried to give him guidance in a very kind way. Not even a kind way. It was in a selfless way. It's like, you know, you can do this thing if you try. It's not do this thing to help us out. It was do this thing if you try. And I won't go into everything that happened there, but I will say that Ray, he would never go against Teriel's wishes at the end. Never, because of the choices made. Yeah. But I like to think that he continued his life, because he's a druid, which means he's going to live like another 600 or 700 years. It slows down the aging process. He took a lot of the tenets that he found. His life was a positive one of trying to give and sacrifice for others. That was what he did. So it was positive. It was a positive.
Ryan was positive. I loved Ray. He's definitely my favorite character, and I really hope that we get to see Ray again. I really hope an iteration of Ray or something of that nature.
I would love to play an old Ray.
I'm begging Tablestory to do something like that. You know, whether it's our own Tablestory universe or not, where we can create characters that we do get to see age and become NPCs at some point. Now on Electric Dreams and Blade Runner, I mean, obviously being under PB's direction is you're in a movie. Like everyone is in a movie or a serious audiobook. That's some heavy stuff that you're under. I feel like we just keep pressing you, man. You're just like
I enjoy it. I really do.
You do really well at it. I think that's why we keep doing it. You will.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, that and Ashes Before It. One, the storytellers here at Table Story are incredible.
Yeah, mind blowing.
Full stop, just incredible.
Yes.
So being a part of any of these, I always know they're going to go somewhere great. Ashes did that. It was exactly what Lord of the Rings should have been. I was so happy to play a character in that.
Awesome.
Similarly, with and PB for Blade Runner is just hopefully she'll mute so she doesn't disassociate.
Vomit, yeah.
She's incredible.
She's incredible, dude.
But and just for her sake, I will say it is a collaborative effort, and I'm very lucky to have the people that are there.
That cast is ridiculous.
It's great. I know Whack well enough that I feel like I can role play across from him without even having to really worry about it. And similarly with PB, but with Zeke and with Elspeth, I had no idea really too much about their style, how they were going to be or anything. And they're wonderful, great people, just top to bottom, great people, and their ability to really push a scene in a way that I'm not really expecting. And I love it. I got to have, it was like the first episode I got to bitch at Elspeth's character, and she gave it right back. And then in the DMs, I'm like, "Are you good? Yeah, dude, that was heavy. Are you good? Are you okay?" And she was like, "I'm good. Are you good? Are you doing?"
It's just another Monday, just another Sunday, baby.
No. She was, but it was such a sort of kind thing, and that's something I do love about the shows is in the background people having conversations, and we'll throw up gifs and stuff, and sometimes I'm like, I want to make someone laugh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna put up this GIF and see if I can get it. And then I'm watching the screen. Like, come on, someone see it. But Electric Dreams is Blade Runner universe. PB has done a faithful job to the IP and everything else like that. And we've had an opportunity to create characters. And originally, I created Bob to be much more of a background NPC. That was his role. That was my idea behind him. And it's not that I wanted to be in the background. He was a stoic character, or he is a stoic character. And, I wanted him to have very, very black and white sort of things. And, and I won't spoil anything really on here, but PB, you son of a bitch, she knew from the beginning what she was doing and completely sideswiped me. But it played into my character really well.
Does she really know? Does she really know?
Dude, I'm telling you.
Sometimes I feel like PB flies at the seat of her pants because she just loves a good fucking story.
No,
bro.
see, she has proof, and that proof is Meyer. So it is. And also, Meyer, just I was thinking about you in the shower. Don't go down that road, but I was thinking about you in the shower today because But I was thinking about the fact because he's playing a character that he had to watch a lot of my movements and things that I said, and all I could think is he's had relatively to all of us very little screen time, and he's had to sit there and watch me do shit.
That's Meyer,
I'm so sorry, buddy.
That's Meyer, bro. That's him.
I know.
He can literally read a tutorial and write a book on it. It's
Meyer
way.
It is. It is the Meyer way. Yeah. So, but it's very appreciative, and also Flick that came into the show.
Yeah,
a while. Job. I got to play.
I can't stand his character. I mean, I can't stand their character, but at the end of the day, that means they did a very good job. Oh,
they're so good. Yeah, for those of you that have seen it, you'll know. If you haven't, please watch it. But I had an opportunity. Flick. They play Rabbit in Wild RP, and they were actually one of the first people that I had met when I first started playing, way, way back. And I had some great interactions. One of the big story arcs that I did with Michael Sullivan, my baker doctor turned boat captain. I had some great scenes with them, so I knew what they were capable of, and it's been beyond what I expected. They're just wonderful person in general, having to deal with getting up really stupid early, considering where they live, to deal with us and the show. And they're killing it. They're creating, they've created a character that is essentially loathed. And it is I aspire to create something like that someday. Because it's hard to do. It hits you. You know, you created Terrio.
I was a heel, bro.
Dude,
I don't know if I can do it again.
No, and that's just it. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they forget that we're people.
Yeah.
You know, we're
just actor and character. That's it.
Yeah. And you know, with Terrio, you created somebody that was a young elf that was a teenager. Man, they were going to tantrum. They were going to, and you did it beautifully. You created a beautiful character. But people don't see that, and they don't think of the long term of what you're trying to, because we're not just trying to play a moment, we're playing a story.
Layered characters.
Yeah, we want things to flow until the end, and that means that things will change, things won't change. There'll be moments that you love, moments that you hate, and that's why it's a good story.
It's a good story.
So they're doing great. So yeah, I've been loving it. I think we've got a month or two or something like that left of the show, likely, and I don't know what's going to happen. I think I'm prepared for everything at this point, and I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see where it goes.
I'm right there with you. I think this is PB's best show so far.
Oh, it's so
for
good,
me,
man.
Just because it flows so well. It was set up really well. The lighting, the attitudes, the facial expressions, the interactions between you all, and the biggest thing is the balls, the digital balls to go where people don't. They're like, there's no way PB's gonna go there. And PB's just like, oh yeah, yoink, and I'm just like,
and it's heavy.
And
it's
then
heavy
it
stuff,
falls on you all, and you all are just like, oh, you want 100 mounts? How about 200? And I was just like, I cut the show off. I can't remember the week, but I'll just say there was a gunshot, and that was it. And I was like, nope, I'm not happy. I'm done.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's absolutely fair. It's also very important. You know, Tablestory does a really good job at creating content that is across the spectrum. And I can't stress this enough. If you ever get an opportunity to go back and look through the catalog, you will find something that is your thing. I mean, I am always impressed with the volume that exists and the quality that exists. It's really good. It's really good.
Ages well.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, and you know, the directors, the biggest thing I will say, and they don't. I know we pay a lot of attention to one or the other, but honestly, it's not only everyone coming together at Tablestory has been. It's really a interesting place to find so many like-minded people.
Yes.
Who want the same goals, who care about each other. It's like a family, extended family members.
Yeah.
But the amount of trust that the directors have in the cast and the cast have in the directors, to the point where PB's like, I'm going to do something special. Or I'm going to do something, and are you okay with that? And everybody's like, yes. And they have no idea what's going on.
I got to tell you, that's always my favorite. Yeah. I love not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because I think, you know, if you had asked me 5-10 years ago about role playing, I would have had just a completely different
mindset. Yes.
But the artistry that goes into carving a story with people on the fly is insane.
It's all improv, people.
Yeah.
I mean, for those that are listening, forgot to say that.
There is nothing better. And I will toot my own horn, but there is nothing better than when I say a line that punches somebody in the gut, and I know I got it. I know I got it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's not planned. It just comes up. The brain says it, and you go, I bet I could. Okay, I got to deliver it now.
Yeah.
You know, and you feel really good.
And you get that like stamp of approval when the directors are like,
yeah.
You know, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And the chat is like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah. You know, we talk about escaping, you know, from things. And I think that's what Tablestory does well, is like, you know, you always hear the saying, like, leave your problems at the door when you go into work, you know, when you go into your house or whatever. It's like the same thing. I show up to work at Tablestory, but it's like my favorite job ever. It's like when I'm going in, I'm completely going to be Terrio. I'm completely going to be Malavik or whoever I'm playing. Yeah. And I want people to feel the emotions that he feels. I want to get into character. I want to love that character or hate the character that I play. Yeah. I want to feel the same emotion. And that's my thing. And I think I got that from, like, you know, Malfoy and Joffrey And
Oh,
then, you know,
dude.
and
Yeah.
the
It
shit
like
that they went through, you know,
it ends
because
their career because they
right,
can't.
they were like, I'm done. Because
Yeah.
I remember seeing, I think it was, I don't know if, yeah, I think it was Malfoy. He would go down the street and people would just call him that. He was like, I'm not that. Separate the two. He was just like flipping out. He had to change schools, all kinds of stuff. And
You do the job too well, man.
do it too well, dude.
Yeah.
You do it too well. It bleeds.
I do like that. Especially over the years, that has been a conversation that does come up, which is the recognize, like, the separation. There's a separation. These are different people, and there's nothing wrong with reminding people of that and saying that again. By the way, here's this character. We know that they are they're twisting that knife in you, but remember, this is someone acting.
Yes,
they're not that person.
They're not that person.
No, so because I know eventually I would love to play a villainous person at some point.
Same. I really want to dive into it now.
But I love the idea of the RP taking you somewhere. Just as a quick aside for that.
Sure.
There is absolutely a clear-cut moment in Electric Dreams where my character Bob could have gone down a road with Selma and would have been seen more as evil because that was what that character was. But then something else happened and he went down a different road.
Yeah.
It was
shocker.
right there.
It was a shocker, dude. I was like, interesting. Okay. And I was here for it because I was like, man, this is why Tablestory is special, because they make these moments. It's not just TTRPGs, it's something else. We just call it TTRPGs. I try to like format it to be like cinematic, immersive TTRPGs. But it's something deeper than that. I don't think we discovered the word for it that only Tablestory does.
I don't know what. As a writer, I actually can't think of a word, but it is that. It's not just cinematic. It's not just immersive. I don't know. It's collaborative. You know what? I bet there's a German word for it.
Probably.
There's always a German word for it.
Probably. I feel like it's dream statey, almost. You know how
okay.
me and you talk about anime, so you know how there's nerve gear in Sword Art Online and stuff like that, or like a VR experience where people just completely encapsulate a player number one, type thing. That's what Tablestory feels to me. It's just like we are in the world, because my brain is expansive when it comes to imaginary stuff. I can like map out a whole scene just from someone telling me, and that's what I get from it. But anyway, I got an interesting question for you.
Sure.
I typically ask people, what do you bring into your characters to bring on Tablestory? But do you ever take your characters outside of Tablestory and put it into your own life and interject some of the lessons that you learn during the shows?
Every time. I think that that's probably one of the best things about it is when you have the opportunity to explore someone that isn't you. I think it's hard not to put yourself into it. I think I know that I always do. There's always a little bit of me in there. Right now, Bob is probably the furthest thing from me, but well, up until recently, but I definitely do take a lot of lessons from the characters that I've created and played. What I end up doing usually, depending on how heavy a scene is, how heavy a show is, how funny, how comedic, I take away things like emotional balance, how to deliver certain aspects, lines, and stuff like that. And these are just the technical aspects. I take a lot of the mistakes that I feel like I've made and try and make sure that I don't make those again. That being said, when it comes to the personality and the characters that I'm trying to convey, I don't think I can't help but take stuff away from it, because when you dive into someone that isn't you and you get put into a situation, which again the GMs at Tablestory do such a great job of shoving you into, I think I don't think you can help but also going, okay, well, I know that this person is going to react this way, but how would I react? And it's hard not to take that with you. It's almost an opportunity of like living multiple lives and getting that experience. Have you ever heard of, read, or seen a story called The Egg? Okay. So I believe I want to say it's Neil Gaiman, but someone correct me if I'm wrong, but it's an interesting story about this person that dies, and someone is sort of narrating about how they died. It wasn't a particularly crazy life that they lived. And they start to slowly be told and realize that they're not just that person. They're getting ready to be reincarnated as somebody else. And not only that, Andy Weir, thank you so much, PB. It didn't sound right when I said it. Essentially, you're everybody. So imagine that there is a being that every time they live some life on this planet, and every time they die, they switch to the next one. So you are everybody. It was such an interesting concept, and I really feel like as little as I can get from RP compared to that, that's what I'm feeling. I feel like I get to be somebody, think of how they would react, what they would do, and then I step back and I carry that with me. And a lot of the times it's, well, there's no way in hell I would do that. But now I know that about me. Now I know that I wouldn't do that thing. So, yeah, it was... I definitely think that you just can't help it. Well, hopefully that's what the case. But I do bring things with me every time.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, I don't think I interjected any of me in any of my characters yet. To be funny enough, I have really, being trained as an actor, you learn to.
Well, that's true, and you have that, which I can't imagine. You have to separate, and you have gone through the process of learning.
Yeah, and it's sometimes it's hard on the show because I know what I would do, and I have to there was like really tough decisions I had to make in certain shows where I'm just like, I would never do that, but my character, it's gonna push that button. And maybe I will make a character that and put myself in there, but it would have to be a modern day character for me to really and I think it might help me with a lot of internal issues, or maybe I'll do things that I would never do IRL. I get the experience in the story, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like dreaming, right? It's just like, I would never do this, but why not? But it's interesting that you brought that up, because past lives is a belief that I slowly start to have. Is like, did we live past lives? It's just too much coincidence happening here and there,
dude, I will go along with that. Absolutely. The state of reality is energy. Everything converts to energy.
That's what created is all energy.
And that includes every memory that everybody ever has. So who is to say that you cannot have the memories of somebody else flow through you?
Yeah, we always say old souls. You see children that are just doing things that you're just like, wow, that's very...
But it's a comforting thought for yourself. If a piece of you persists, it's comforting.
It's comforting,
To some degree. There's also people that go, if you fall into the void and stop existing in any way, it's comforting. So it's really, it's a mixed bag of whatever you want.
Pick whichever one you want. Man, we are coming up on 15. I cannot believe we're coming up on 15 minutes left of the show. I feel like there's just too much there. There's still more we can talk about. It's just so much. Oh my gosh, I just want to go down a whole rabbit hole. So your kids obviously like, man, we got a cool dad. I mean, do they know what you do? Like, do they know about the TTRPGs and all this stuff?
They're aware. They're aware of the various people I know and the sort of connections that those people may have to other people and so on and so forth, and they're very respectful about it. They don't
That's awesome.
They don't go out of their way to really hype me up or anything to their friends or promote me or anything. they don't do that sort of stuff. They are from everything that I can tell, they are proud of me, and I'm proud of them. So
that's awesome.
But they're aware, and it's something that is nothing to be the social labels that we give ourselves and we give everybody else. If I walk outside and I say, or someone goes, "Hey, what do you do?" And I go, "Well, I pretend to be someone else in front of a camera inside of my home for a couple hours at a time, and I dress up." If you do that,
I love it.
Hey, people be like, "I don't know if that's cool or not," but I'm not ashamed of the fact that I get to do shows and I get to do a level of improv and acting. However, that being said, audiences are audiences, and some people just don't get that shit. They just don't. Yeah. And those are the people I don't interact with anyway. Art is art. This is definitely art, and I think it's beautiful. And I'm fortunate enough that my kids do support me.
Awesome.
My family in total supports me, so it's really nice.
That's awesome. I'm pretty sure they see the outcome of how It does help in instances in that you have support groups on both sides, and I think that's super great that you're in a support sandwich at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so to
I am.
speak.
I'm beyond fortunate because a
Yeah.
lot of people don't have what I have, so
That's
can't
good.
complain.
That's good, man. I love to hear it. I love to hear it. So what's next for Aaron Black? Are we going to see another book coming in soon? Or are we going to see some kind of show? Or what we got?
Oh well, so show wise, I don't think I don't have anything lined up in any one way or the other. You know, Whack has recognized that I have gone from one show to the next, and I could definitely use a break, and that doesn't mean that I will.
Well, you're not like me, where I'm like, give me more.
Yeah, no.
Stop.
The thing is, I love it. I do love it, but I definitely need
you do
gaps.
need.
And
I don't think you've had a real break.
no, it's been a lot of jump from one thing to the next, which has been lovely, and I love it. And it's also to say, you know, I'm a part of Table Story. I am not Table Story. I don't have to be in the shows. There's wonderful, beautiful people that can play these characters just as good as I could, and I look forward to seeing those. Please check out both. Let's see. Now we have Cura. With Brad, and we've got the oh my God, I'm dying, the Pathfinder show that you guys are doing. No, I watch it, and I have the name in my head.
No, I'm just kidding.
no, it's I talked to what, you know, if we could just
in the front of a house.
If we could just real fast have a conversation about that though, PTSD, and this is very important to say, PTSD makes your brain Swiss cheese.
Dude.
For me to keep on track with things most of the Gatewalkers, PB saving me. I mean, I knew that, Gatewalkers. But no, seriously, these shows are fucking fantastic. They are. Beautiful people, wonderfully talented, hilarious, just a good time. And if you don't take anything I say from this entire episode, please take this. You can jump in at any time. You don't have to start from the beginning.
That's true.
People will catch you up. You can go back if you want. The story is worth being there live every time. It is. It's lovely to watch it after the fact. It is. And listening to it on podcast is fucking great. But being there live and being there when you know, like Whack will go, buses in the chats. Oh my God. And then you see that shit come to fruition and someone doesn't die.
Yeah.
It's incredible, and you're there for it. You're a part of it, and which is great. Like, they're playing, sure, but you feel like you're in there, man. You're a part of it. So it's just, I can't really support that enough. That being said, no shows after this one for a little while. If they ask me for something and they say, hey, are you good for this? Yeah, I'll see how things are going. There's a good chance I'll say yes, but, you know, I'm just very aware of the time needed to come down. For books... I am continuing to write. I have been writing a little bit more lately than I have been. There was definitely a big gap of time where I just didn't want to touch it. But I'm getting that sort of emotion again, and I'm starting to dig into it. So hopefully, but it takes time to write, so don't expect anything anytime soon. Other than that, I am going to be running a fairly small campaign of Daggerheart. This is not live anywhere.
Okay.
This is just off the camera. And Daggerheart is the new, you know, Darrington Press one that they have and everything else like that. And that's a neat project I'm going to dive into. I'm learning the rules, having fun with it, but I want the players to be as fucking ridiculous as possible. Just stupid and, you know, just play around with the silly ideas that we have. But that's pretty much me right now. That's awesome. That is life, yeah. That's awesome. Looking forward to the summer. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. Cicadas are coming this year.
Oh, yeah.
Dude. Yeah. Spiders, no problem. Bees, wasps, I don't care. Cicadas, I will not go outside.
It's just something about them flopping on the ground and having the maggot come out of their stomach.
They're so scary, dude. Man. So yeah, I will be a pasty boy in the summertime.
Oh man, yeah, them was in house centipedes or whatever those damn things are called that try to get into your house somehow. So annoying. Little brown, make you feel so dirty, man. It's just like ugh. But anyway, I hate spring and summer. Just bring on the winter again. I just want to let all the bugs go away. But that's interesting. Well, that's great. We're definitely looking forward to the next book. Definitely want to be the first to purchase for sure. So definitely keep us up to date with that. Again, if anyone has any questions whatsoever, today was a very, very heavy episode. We understand that, but I am so grateful. I learned so much. I was going back and forth. I'm gonna embarrass her. Going back and forth with my wife. She's like, I love him. I'm taking so many notes. I was like, me too. My God, he's such a great guy. We moved back and forth. We're just so big fans of yours, dude. So I've learned so much this show. It feels good to know that there's someone like you I can relate to on such heavy topics to the T. Like I'm like sitting here like, oh my God, was he in my house? Was he in my brain? Was he there when I was screaming in a car one day? And like when I was younger, and all these things do just line up. But I am so happy of the man that you become today, dude, and being able to impart so much great knowledge and emotional support to people that you don't even know. You're helping someone out there, and I think that's the whole beauty behind Table Story. We always welcome everyone to our table. And you know, it's really nice to know that they may not speak it vocally, but you know that you definitely, your words reach someone and it helped someone that's going through some things.
And I hope so,
dude. What a great, priceless gift that is, to be able to say that you put some kind of blueprint in someone's life that helps them get better. And if you out there, audience, historians especially, want to know more, to ask more, please don't be afraid. Feel free to DM.
Yep, straight to me, please.
Okay.
I will have a conversation happily. It's okay.
That's awesome.
It is okay.
That's awesome. Also, feel free to leave your comments and questions in Discord, and if you're on YouTube, leave them there as well.
Yep.
Aaron, I hate that it's almost over.
I know.
I have
but
so many more questions.
But that's fine. Listen, there is a tradition that's coming up, and I'm very excited for it.
Yes. Okay, so our mini tradition. So, first of all, oh goodness gracious, it's just so much imparted, and I need more. So we have a tradition where we go through and we ask the guests if you could tell your younger self something very important, or anybody in the audience, historians or listeners, something very important that'll help them keep on going in their life, or some advice that they probably didn't think about. What would it be? You have the floor, Aaron Black. Give it to us.
Thank you. Okay, so I was actually very excited for this part when I was asked by Frank, because I watched the show. I know that this is coming. There is a phrase that I use often, and maybe it sounds hokey or silly or overly hopeful or whatever you want to call it, but I live by it. And it is, you won a cosmic lottery to exist, which is incredible.
Wow.
You've been given a gift.
That is so true.
Yeah, but not only that, you won another cosmic lottery to recognize that you exist. You're sentient. You know that you exist, you have time, you have whatever, I guess, options you have available to you. We are incredibly lucky individuals. Now, that doesn't negate the harsh times, which when it hurts, and it is okay to hurt. And you should never shove that away and tell yourself, no, I won that lottery to exist, so I'll be happy. The human condition, it is every emotion. And to be human, you have to feel all of them. And I think that's something that I know that I wish my younger self strive for. And for anyone out there, let yourself feel. It's okay to cry. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to have the wrong emotion at the wrong time. It's okay. And that's pretty much it. It's okay.
Wow. Dude, you that's interesting you said that. I live by that, by the way. What you said, because for those that don't, the numbers people like me, if you're a numbers person, the odds of you being alive is insane. Listen to this. 1 in 10 to the 2,685,000th with a TH power. That's your chances of being alive. That is your chances. That's huge. That's an astronomical number. And I don't think we take that into accord. I know I don't sometimes, because you know, sometimes you just be like, I just want to be done with it all, and you're forfeiting what someone else didn't even have a chance to begin with. And I think sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying don't invalidate your feelings or whatever. Like, I'm just saying, or at the end of the day, it's we're so damn lucky to be able to have this conversation right now, let alone being alive in the same timeline. But as you said, being sentient, I think that advice is so good.
Yeah, it's okay to recognize how lucky we are, and it's okay to be pissed off about it.
Yes, it is. And it's okay to make mistakes and learn from them. That's something else that, is something that is learned. And, if I have to add on to what Aaron said, is give yourself grace. Like, find a way to give yourself some kind of grace, and then just let yourself know that it's okay to F up. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be right. And just kind of live with it and go day by day. I slowed down a lot. I think we spend way too much time trying to worry about tomorrow, next down the line. It's like, I think somebody said, if you worry about when you're going to die so much, it may come a lot earlier than you expect.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Yeah, dude, when you worry, you suffer twice.
Yes.
So just.
Yes. Yep.
So
I want to ask you a follow-up question. This is going to be hard. And if you can't answer this, it's quite okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I kind of brought this up in an episode before, and it's a fear of mine.
Okay.
That I have. My fear is to be on my resting bed with regrets. Do you feel like you're at a place now, or getting to a place where you can say that, you know what? If tomorrow wasn't promised, I can safely say that I won't have regrets. And it's okay if you can't.
I can answer this.
Yeah.
I guess the way that I look at it is, I think I will always have regrets no matter how hard I work through things. I think I just hope that whatever successes I have, which includes failures, but whatever those are, I just hope they outweigh the regrets. And I think it's about the best I can do.
Hey, man, that's fair. That is absolutely fair. And I love that answer. And I love that you're honest, not only to us, to yourself. And that goes a long way.
It's hard.
It is, my friend. It is. And it's something that we don't stop learning. But unfortunately, we are at time. But before we go, Aaron, please let the audience know where they can find you, where they can find your works, what to look forward to. One last time.
Sure. I do have a Twitter, and with Twitter being not called Twitter anymore, I'm not super active.
Twitter.
Yeah, not super active on there, but you can find me there at Aaron B. Writes. I have recently hopped on Threads as well, and I've enjoyed the environment that I have found myself in for the most part in there. Yeah. Well, I've been going for cooking and things like this, video game related or cooking related, and it's just cozy. I will scroll for a little bit. I don't feel like, I'm not doom scrolling because I'm not going for any of that sort of material, and then I get off it. So it's pretty good. So I'm on there, but I think I'm there as Aaron B. Black. I don't remember. So I don't know. Good luck if you want to find me there. But other than that,
charming face, you'll find.
Yeah, it's there. And then you can find me on Tablestory Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern for Blade Runner, which has got a few more episodes left. Please dive in. And you can find my book on Amazon. It's called Firewall Down, a Detective Lake mystery. And outside of that, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's it, buddy.
Alrighty, there you go. You know where to find them, and also you can always find them in the Discord. Feel free. I'm pretty sure he's okay with you tagging if you.
Oh yeah. No, I accept Discord for all the things it has. So yeah, don't feel bad or
except
afraid.
The graphic designers, we don't need you. Anyway, other than that. Leave on a light note. Other than that, Aaron, thank you so very much for joining me today, man. It's been a absolute pleasure. I have learned so much, and you know what, man? I'll be messaging you a lot more because I have so many more questions. We may even probably have to do a part 2. I mean, at the end of the day. But with that, my friend, thank you so very much. And if you guys have taken anything away, please, the parting words, make sure you make that at least a part of your daily thoughts and trying to bring something to the table to make yourself not only feel good, but also the golden rule always stands. Got to respect others as you expect to respect yourself.
Yeah.
But until next time, we have one more episode that's going to cap season 3, And don't ask me to guess this. I have no idea because the guest that I wanted couldn't do it. So we're gonna have to figure it out. We'll figure it out. Don't worry. But yeah, last episode of season 2 will be next week, and then we have to go into some special stuff called reunions. Oh, what could that possibly be? Think of it as a actors roundtable where we bring back the cast of season 1 and have a big roundtable, and then the cast of season 2 have a big roundtable. That will be a separate in between season 0.5 maybe for both of those episodes if we get lucky enough to have it funded for season 3. And that'll be on you, everyone out there, Storians. So if you like it, please leave your comments, concerns, and anything else that you would like. I would love feedback on the show. Please give me feedback on the show, because that's what keeps us going. We treat it just like a television show. If the comments and stuff if there's a big demand for it, then we'll see what we can do. Other than that, thank you for joining us for Under the Table season 2, brought to you by you, Storians, here on Table Story Live. And we'll see you next time. Take it easy, everyone. Bye for now. Stick around. We have some announcements, of course, as always. But bye.
Hello there, welcome to Table Story. I wanted to take a moment to let you know some other ways that you can support the channel, see some extra merchandise, and find some additional content that you might not be aware of. Merch.tablestory.tv is our official merchandise store and membership feed. Here you can see some of the merchandise for the channel and shows, like these hoodies, these hats, this very elegant pillow, and more. There's also some additional content available, things like session zeros and pre-show ready workshop episodes of our shows. We also have a series we call the Green Room, which are short post-show chats with the casts of our shows, recorded immediately after the episode airs live on Twitch. The Green Room content is available retroactively for any members at any level. However, there are additional elements and discounts for Storians that support at higher levels. You can also listen to all of your favorite Table Story shows in audio podcast format on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts. Please make sure to rate and subscribe to those too. It's incredibly helpful. Thank you. Lastly, if you miss any of the episodes live or you want to go back and watch previous series, all of our shows are available in playlists on YouTube, and every episode airs at noon Eastern the day after it airs live on Twitch. And thank you so much for watching and supporting Table Story. We hope you enjoy the merch and the content as much as we enjoy making it.